Some stories don't scare you right away. They trigger something deeper, a nervous synapse firing before you understand why. Welcome to Nervous Synapses. Let's get cozy as I tell you all about the child's best friend. Emily is a bubbly 4-year-old little girl who lived with her parents, Jane and Matthew, in a 2-story ranch-style home in Galveston, Texas. Matthew is the CEO of an accounting firm based in Houston, but every so often his work required him to travel west to San Antonio and Austin. Jane is an interior designer who worked out of her home and took care of Emily when Emily wasn't attending preschool. Emily loved going to preschool 3 times a week, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. She had a few friends there, and she loved playing with them during recess, drawing, and making crafts to bring home to her mommy and daddy. However, she loved coming home the most because then she could play with her best friend, Sarah. Sarah and Emily have been best friends for 2 years. Sarah is older than Emily, but she's never actually told Emily how old she is. Emily met her one day when she was playing out in her backyard. Sarah said she lived a couple of houses down, but Emily had never been to her house. Sarah said she can just easily come over to Emily's house because her mom lets her play outside by herself because she's a big girl now. Emily is always happy when Sarah visits, and her mommy never seems to mind that Sarah is at their house all the time. But sometimes, Emily's dad gets annoyed when Sarah visits, especially after he gets back from one of his work trips. On those days, Sarah goes home early and Emily can't play with her anymore. Sarah doesn't go to Emily's school. When Emily asked her, all Sarah said was that her mom teaches her at home and she can study whenever she wants. Emily thought this was weird, but when she was telling her mommy about it, her mom said that some parents like to teach their children themselves at home. Emily asked if she could do the same, but her mom said no because she has work to do. One day, a new boy started attending her preschool. He didn't talk to anyone and refused to share his toys with the other children. Miss Claire said his name is John and he just moved to town from Ohio. Emily wasn't sure where Ohio was, but it sounded far away. She felt bad for John. Did he have a best friend in Ohio? Emily can't imagine if they had to move far away and she had to leave her best friend Sarah behind. So she tried talking to John to see if he could use a new friend. But John just ignored her. During recess, John sat on a bench all by himself and didn't play with anyone. Even when all the children were playing tag, he didn't join in. Emily kept trying to call him over, but John turned his back to all of them instead. That night, while Emily and Sarah were playing tea party in Emily's room, Emily told Sarah all about the new boy in school. Sarah didn't seem very happy that Emily was trying to be friends with John. She told Emily to leave him alone and that John can find a new friend on his own. Emily didn't understand why Sarah didn't want her talking to John, but she decided to stop telling her about him for now. 2 days later, when Emily returned to school, she couldn't find a box of crayons that she had left in her cubby. She told Miss Claire about it and Miss Claire helped her look for the crayons. When Emily looked out at the classroom, she saw John drawing by himself at a corner table. Then she realized John was using her box of crayons. She immediately walked over to him and told John that those were her crayons and asked for them back. John, without looking up from his drawing, told her they were his and just kept on drawing. It looked like he was drawing animals on a pad of paper. Emily persisted and told him she knew they were her crayons because her mom wrote the letter E for Emily on the side of the box, which she could clearly see. John kept ignoring her, so Emily went to see Miss Claire. Miss Claire then calmly talked to John and told him he shouldn't be taking other children's things without their permission. She asked John if he had his own crayons, and John shook his head. So Miss Claire told him she has an extra box that he can have, but he needed to return Emily's crayons to her. Sarah was already in her room when Emily got home that afternoon. She was sitting by the window and smiled widely when she saw Emily. Emily ran over to her and asked if she wanted to have a snack and play after. Emily said she wasn't hungry, but they can play. Emily ran downstairs to grab a snack real quick before bounding back upstairs to get her dolls out. She wanted to do their hair today. As they were brushing the dolls' hairs, Emily started telling Sarah about her day in school. She told Sarah all about John taking her crayons and how he didn't have his own, and Miss Claire had to give him a box. Sarah put her doll down and looked at Emily. Then she said, "He took your crayons?" Emily said yes, but he returned them after Miss Claire gave him new ones. Emily didn't see the dark scowl that passed over Sarah's face. After a minute, Sarah told Emily that she had to go home, but she'll be back tomorrow. "Oh, but it's still early." "Okay, fine. Well, I guess I'll see you tomorrow." The next day passed uneventfully, and Emily spent the whole day playing and singing with Sarah. Her mom was busy in the office taking phone calls all day, and her dad was on another work trip and wouldn't be back until the weekend. On Friday, when Emily went back to school, she was sitting at her desk when all of a sudden she heard John gasp behind her by the cubbies. When she looked over, she saw John kneeling on the floor with a sad look on his face. He looked like he was about to cry. When Emily looked down, she saw that he had poured all his crayons on the floor, and they all looked to be broken into a bunch of little pieces. Miss Claire walked over to John and gasped, "John, did you break all the crayons I'd just given you?" John looked up at Miss Claire and with tears in his eyes said, "No, Miss Claire, I didn't do this. I just came to get them and they were already broken." Miss Claire replied, "But John, who could have broken them? We all got here at the same time, and no one was here yesterday. You're the only one who took them out of your cubby." John was about to protest, but hung his head sadly instead. "John, you shouldn't be breaking things. I can give you another box of crayons, but if you break those, you're not getting any more. And I'm gonna have to let your mom know about this." John didn't say anything, and he remained quiet the rest of the day. That weekend, when her dad came home from his work trip, he seemed extra tired and impatient. She could hear her parents talking lowly but agitatedly in their room. Were they fighting? She didn't think so, but they didn't sound happy. Emily played quietly in her room, and 10 minutes later, she heard a soft knock on her door. When she opened it, Sarah was there. That instantly brought a smile to Emily's face. Sarah looked at her and asked, "What's wrong?" Emily replied, "It's nothing. I'm happy you're here, Sarah." But Sarah refused to believe her and kept pushing what was wrong, until finally Emily told her that she thinks her parents are fighting, or upset about something. Sarah got up and told her she'll be back in a minute. When Sarah came back, she told Emily she listened at her parents' bedroom door. They weren't fighting, but they were upset about something with her dad's work. She said she overheard Emily's dad say something about needing to move to San Antonio, but her mom said that's not possible because she can't just up and leave her clients. Emily was dumbfounded. "Move to San Antonio? You mean like we'll have a new house there? But I don't want to move. How will I see you if we move?" Sarah comforted Emily and told her she was sure it won't happen. They were just talking about it. That night, Emily's dad was upset and didn't want to hear Emily talking about her friend Sarah. He complained to Jane that Emily is getting too old to be playing with imaginary friends, and that she needed to talk to her about that. He said her mom had let her keep going with her imagination long enough. Emily was confused. Sarah's not imaginary. She's her best friend, and she lived just 2 houses down. A few days passed, and Emily's parents seemed to be doing better. She hadn't heard them arguing again, so she thought that maybe they decided not to move after all. Most of the week passed as normal, with Emily going to preschool on Monday and Wednesday. Her mom was busy with her clients all week, and her dad had to go back to San Antonio on Tuesday. However, when Friday came, Emily's mom told her she wasn't going to preschool that day. She sat her down at the dining table and told her she needed to talk to her about something. "Emily, I need you to understand this, okay? You know how there's a new boy in your school who moved here from Ohio? Do you know why they moved here?" Emily shook her head. Her mom then told her it was because his dad had to move here to Texas for his job. Then Jane went on to say, "You know how Daddy has been traveling to San Antonio for work a lot lately? Well, it's because his office in San Antonio is having a lot of problems. Daddy has to be there a lot to take care of those problems, but he doesn't know how long it will take to fix it. He doesn't want to keep traveling back and forth, but he also doesn't want to be away from us for a very long time. So we decided it would be better if we moved to San Antonio so we can all be together." Emily was stunned and kept staring at her mom. Then she blurted, "No, I don't want to move. I like it here. And my best friend Sarah is here. And what about school? I like my school. And I like Miss Claire. And all my friends there." Emily started crying. Her mom gave her a hug and told her, "Emily, I'm sure we'll find a new school for you in San Antonio, and you'll get to make new friends there. We'll have a new house, and you'll have a new bedroom." Emily stubbornly shook her head. "I'm not leaving Sarah." Then her mom told her something she couldn't believe she was hearing from her own mom. "Listen, Emily, you're going to be 5 years old in a couple of months. Your dad and I both think that you need to stop making up stories about Sarah. You have real friends in school. You don't have to make up a friend to play with." Emily didn't know what to say. She couldn't believe she was hearing this from her mom. Her mom never had any issues with her friend and had always let her come visit. Emily was very confused, and all she could think to do was cry and run up to her room. Emily threw herself onto her bed and cried into her pillow. Soon she felt a presence next to her, and when she looked up, Sarah was next to her. She sat upright and leant over to hug Sarah and cried to her about what her mom had just told her, including what her parents had said about Sarah being imaginary. Sarah comforted Emily, and when Emily stopped crying, Sarah looked her in the face and told her, "Don't worry, Emily. You don't have to move. You can stay right here, and we'll be together forever. I'll take care of you and everything else, okay? Just leave it to me." Emily didn't know what Sarah meant, but she was so tired from crying that she didn't think much of it. She told Sarah she wanted to take a nap, and Sarah told her she'll be back in a couple of days. Emily's dad was supposed to come back from San Antonio on Saturday afternoon, but he didn't come home that day. Her mom kept trying to call his cell phone, but he wasn't answering. Then in the early evening, Emily was in the kitchen when she heard a couple of loud knocks on the front door. Her mom went to the door, but Emily couldn't tell who she was talking to. She just heard a couple of men's voices. Then all of a sudden, her mom gave out a loud cry, and when Emily looked down the hallway, she saw her mom slumped on the floor, and the two men, who looked like policemen, were trying to help her up and onto the couch. Emily got scared. She didn't know what was happening, so she ran over to her mom. Her mom grabbed her and squeezed her tightly and cried in her hair. Emily didn't know what to do, so she just let her mom keep holding her. The policemen were still in the room, and after a minute, one of them asked, "Ma'am, is there anyone you'd like us to call for you?" Jane looked up at him, her face red and streaked with tears, and shook her head. She thanked them and said she'd call family herself. The policeman nodded and proceeded to head out the door. One said they'll keep in touch with more details before they closed the door behind them. Emily's mom kept crying, but after a couple of minutes, she held Emily a little away from her and looked her in her face. She took a deep breath, then said, "Baby, Daddy's gone. He was in a car accident in San Antonio, and he didn't make it. He's not gonna be back." Emily didn't know what her mom meant. What did she mean, Daddy's gone? Gone where? Emily said, "What do you mean, Mommy? Where did Daddy go? Is he okay?" He died in the car accident, sweetie. I'm so sorry, baby." Emily's ears started ringing. Died? Like how her goldfish died and they had to bury it in the backyard? Emily's mom held her a little longer, and after a while, she took a deep breath again and told Emily she needed to call Grandma and Grandpa. She asked Emily to go to her bedroom for now, and she'll come get her in a bit. so Emily went upstairs. In her room, Emily found Sarah waiting for her on her bed. She didn't know how Sarah got there or when, but she figured she must have let herself in while they were talking to the police. She ran over to Sarah and started crying. "Mommy says Daddy died and he's not coming home." Emily bawled. She didn't want to not see her dad again. Sarah comforted her and gently pushed her hair away from her face. Then she whispered to Emily, "I told you I'd take care of it. You don't have to move to San Antonio, Emily. You can stay here with me forever. I'll take care of you. You don't have to be sad. I'll never let anyone hurt you. Ever." Emily looked up at Sarah with teary eyes before she succumbed to the safety of sleep. "So, what do you think? Do you think Sarah was just an imaginary friend? Or was she something more, something paranormal? Let me know down below what you think. Did you guys like the story? If you did, don't forget to give